What is up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be making a tier list ranking all of the items that we currently have in Chapter 6, Season 1. As always, if you guys do enjoy this video, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you like to see more, and comment down below which item you think is best and worst this season. Obviously, it'd be inconvenient for you to rank everything without a list, but just let me know what your favorite and least favorite item in the game right now is. We're going to start off with the Hollow Twister. I'm going to put this S tier. Obviously, all of this is just my opinion. That's the point of it being my list. But I think this assault rifle is incredible. I don't think anybody could really argue that. Very accurate, very little recoil, solid fire rate, very good damage, good hip fire. It's really a do-it-all weapon, and it does everything very well. So I think the Hollow Twister is probably one of the best assault rifles that we've ever had in Fortnite. The next item I'm going to put S tier is going to be the Void Mask. I'm trying to get the obvious ones out of the way, early on, but the Void Mask is just, S tier mobility this season. You can throw out the ball and then teleport to it. You can choose to not teleport to it. You can throw it straight up to, get height and get out of the way. There's just so many different ways to use the Void Ball, and as far as mobility items go, I think it's very good. It's very effective for fighting. It's very effective for traveling. It's fun to use. It just has basically everything you would want from a mobility weapon. And then I think the katana, I would maybe put it A tier. I'm not as high on this as other people, but I think we'll put it S tier just because I think that's where most people would have it. Again, it's a fun mobility item. You can run around with it. You can do the katana jump. The melee aspect of it is incredibly good, and I feel like that is where my opinion differs from most of the community, where a lot of people really seem to enjoy using the melee weapons. If you play Fortnite, you'll run into them a lot, but I really don't enjoy using the melee weapons, and I pretty much never do, so that's why I don't have this as high as other people, I feel like. And then even the mobility aspect I'm not as fond of, but it's a very good mobility item, and it's definitely something I would take if I don't have shockwaves, which is also going to be something I put in S tier. If you've been watching my content for a while, this is not a surprise to you, but I think this is just incredible fighting mobility if you want to push somebody, if you want to get away from somebody. Any sort of like urgent timing is of the essence situation. I think shockwaves are very good. And the rest of the items I feel like are pretty hard to rank this season, honestly. Like, actually, Shieldfish I would also put as S tier. An incredible healing item, 40 shield in basically a second, I think, or half a second. And then they got a somewhat indirect buff this season with now them being available in coolers, I think. Or maybe they were available in coolers in Chapter 5. It's just they took coolers out. Never mind. But they're available in coolers, which are somewhat common around the map. And then also you can now get them from fishing just regular water. It used to be that you could only get shieldfish from fishing you could only get shieldfish by fishing the fishing spots, but you can now get them out of the regular water, which is kind of crazy. And I think if you are someone who wants to, put the time into fishing, shieldfish are really good, especially in ranked. I feel like is when people are going to be more inclined to use that the fishing. Shotguns I think are very hard to rank this season, and I think this is where a lot of people's list is maybe going to differ, is just like how they feel about the shotguns. I'm going to put the Sentinel Pump A tier. I don't think it's quite S tier, but I think it's very good as far as a pump shotgun goes. I think it's solid. It's not the greatest pump we've ever had. I don't think it's the worst pump we've ever had. I enjoy using it, and I think that's where a lot of people are going to disagree, because a lot of people just hate the shotguns this season. I think for B tier, I'm going to put the Oni shotgun, and this is another one that some people might have at S, some people might have at A, some people might have at D. It's a very, like, how people feel about it, I think, varies. The fact that it has only 2 shots is really not my least favorite aspect of it. What I don't like about it is the fire rate, because the fire rate isn't fast enough to really be a spammy shotgun, but it's not as slow as a pump. So I feel like when I use this shotgun, I always feel weird, like, do I want to swap to my spray weapon, or do I just want to stick on this? I just never really feel comfortable using it. And then the fact that it has 2 shots is not great, but it's that fire rate that really holds it back for me. What this gun has going for it, though, is just consistency. It has very good range. It has a very tight pellet spread, and its damage is much better than its damage cap. And what that means is that you should be able to somewhat consistently hit the damage cap and just get solid, consistent damage out of this weapon. Very similar to the Ranger shotgun in that aspect. As long as you hit somebody with it, you're probably going to do somewhat solid damage. It's never going to be like incredible damage like you might get out of a perfect pump shot. The ceiling isn't as high, but the floor also isn't as low, and I think that's why a lot of people like it. And then the auto shotgun, I think I'd put it C tier. I don't like this shotgun very much. At times, I might take it over the Oni just because it's more convenient to use than the Oni. It's pretty brainless, but I don't think very highly of this auto shotgun. And I think that's a good thing. I think that's how auto shotguns should be. They should just be very mid. They should never be the best. I think what we had in a lot of Chapter 5 that was a problem was that the auto shotguns were just amazing and they were the meta and they were just the best option. Whereas like, I feel like the auto shotguns should be kind of mid and then their point of value should just be that they're convenient to use. The SMGs, I really don't know how to rank. I think I'm going to put them both B tier. But they're both a solid B tier. Like, they could both be A tier as well. I think they're both good. The Surgefire SMG, this recently got a buff, and I think it's a lot better now. Its kind of interesting aspect is that it starts out with a slower fire rate, and then its fire rate improves as you fire it. And then if you stop shooting, the fire rate decreases. You do have to stop shooting for a little bit, though. And like, it's not just like if you switch off of it, it's right back to square one. There's a little bit of like grace period there. And I think that makes it a lot better when compared to with the pump, because you can pump, swap to the SMG. You know, it starts out kind of sucky at first, swap back to your pump. And then if you have to swap back to your SMG, it should already be at like a somewhat decent fire rate. And then also if you just want to hold fire and mag dump with it, it's, you know, it gets better over time in that aspect as well. It did get buffed at one point this season to where that starting fire rate is a little bit higher than it previously was. And I think that was a solid buff to this weapon and it made it, you know, decently better. The Fury AR, I'm going to put this at A tier, sorry. I think it's very good. I did have a video about how I thought this was the most underrated weapon in the game. It's just incredible. The main thing holding it back is just that it doesn't have a sight, and the Hollow Twister AR does have a sight, and so most people are going to prefer the sighted option. But this is an incredibly versatile AR, and I feel like if they are going to have a red dot AR and a third person AR in the game at the same time, this third person one needs to be very, very, very versatile, and that can be its point of value. I think if we ever get a sniper in the game in Chapter 6, like let's say they just have an update where they add a sniper and it's very good, I could see a world where people start running like Shotgun Fury AR, Sniper, Heals, Mobility. I think this weapon is very good, and it's solid in like every situation, and that's what it needs to be. Another weapon that's solid in every situation is going to be the suppressed pistol. Like this weapon has been around for a long time, and it's pretty much always been, you know, decent. It's not bad. It's not the best thing ever. It's just decent. The precision SMG, I think I'll put at A tier. I was kind of, you know, debating between A and B. I think it'd be at B+. But this is a weapon that is incredibly accurate. Suppressed SMG. I just don't really care for it personally. Like, I recognize the weapon is good, but there's just no world I'd rather use it over the Hollow Twister AR. Even hip firing, the Twister AR just feels better to me for some reason, which is bizarre because this is an SMG and this is an AR. I think the main thing I don't like about this is just that the ammo capacity is not the greatest, and you know, that's probably why the mythic one comes with the ammo medallion. I guess we can go ahead and rank them. The ammo medallion, I'm going to put it B tier. I think this is one of the best balanced medallions that we've ever had. A lot of times in Chapter 5, they were either like very overpowered or just kind of trash. I feel like this one is good. It's not like I don't feel like I need to get this one to have an advantage in fights, but it's nice to have in fights. It's really nice for when you fight the Shogun X boss on the Loot Island. It's really nice when you're spraying someone's car, especially if you're able to break the car and then still have ammo to beam them. That little bit of ammo regen over time, you know, can be beneficial there. It's good when you're spraying out people's cover. Anything where you need to spray too much, just regenerating ammo as you're shooting can be very good. And I would imagine it's pretty solid in team game modes as well, because you might have to shoot at multiple opponents. The Shogun X Invisibility Medallion, I'm going to put at S tier. This would probably be S+ right now. With the snow map, it's even harder to see the invisible person. And the invisibility on this medallion, I think, is more effective than any invisibility that we've ever had. Like, a lot of the invisibility items that we've had in the past, like the Ruin gloves, the Metal Gear Solid device thing, the Mysterio medallion, they required you to do something that like hindered your movement to be invisible, or you weren't able to move very fast. Whereas this one is just when you're sprinting, and then you also get unlimited stamina. This medallion could be only unlimited stamina, and I would still have it in S tier. But like unlimited stamina plus unlimited sprint goes crazy, I think. So this medallion is S tier. I very much enjoy having it. Now we're getting into some of the utility, like niche items. I'm not going to go as in detail with these and some of the heals as well. So big pots, I'd probably put at A tier. They're nice to have. Chug Splash, I'd put at A tier as well. Both good healing items. Chug Splash used to be like far and away better than Big Pots, but with the heal rework we got in Chapter 5 where you heal over time, I'm fine just taking Big Pots instead, and I feel like I'm more likely to find Big Pots than I am Chug Splash typically. If you're playing team game modes, Chug Splash though. Like if I had to choose in solos between a full stack of Bigs or a full stack of Chugs, really wouldn't matter to me one way or the other. But if I was playing like duos or squads, Chugs 100% of the time. That's kind of how I feel about the water sprite as well. I'm going to put this at B tier, I guess. I really don't like it as a healing item. You throw it down and it gives you 30 right away, and then it heals you the remaining 20 over time. And then the sprite just runs away, which is something that I don't like. It's basically like a big pot, but it runs away from you after you use it, and then you have to like catch it to get the other two, and you can't stack it with others, I don't think. So the sprite is good. If you're playing team game modes, it would be higher, but over on its own, I don't care about it. Minis, I might just put D tier. I never want to carry them. I guess we'll put them C tier, but I feel like minis are very outdated. Ever since the heal rework we had in Chapter 5, I just feel like they're incredibly outdated and really not that big of a deal. Same with bandages, so I'll put that at D tier. Medkits, we'll put it B, I guess. It's a good healing item. Don't really use it in public matches. Like, I don't carry it around actively. If you're playing competitive and caring about heal off, then it's obviously S tier. But for most people's use, it's going to be in B tier. Bushes, we'll put it C. If you're a mouse and keyboard player, maybe this would be B or A, especially if you're a mouse and keyboard zero build player that wants to play competitive, I guess, third-party tournaments, since Epic got rid of cash cups. Ranked and stuff as well, I guess. But the fact that the bush removes aim assist makes it not something I ever really want to use as a controller player. But if you're a keyboard player, that can kind of, you know, be really beneficial for you. Porta bunkers, I'm going to put at A tier. If you're playing ranked, they're S tier, or tournaments are S tier. Good item. I just typically don't want to carry it. With how insane the Hollow Twister AR is, though, I feel like having a cover item like this kind of like increases the value of this because the AR is so good. In team game modes, especially, having somebody on your team carry this can be really helpful because those fights probably are going to go longer. Air Sprite, I guess we'll put it B tier. A mobility item that I never really want to carry. Pretty much the only time I ever use these is if I'm just like, if I come across it and I don't have a car yet or something, then sure, we'll use it. Again, in team game modes, probably more value because you could throw one down and then the entire team can fly. Chili Chug Splash, we'll put it S tier, I guess. But this is like a fake S tier. So this is a Chug Splash that gives you faster movement speed for a minute after you use it. And it's great. But the thing about it is, in the past, you would get it from llamas. And then if you found a llama, you would get a full stack of these. With Winterfest, they just put them in the regular loot pool. But the spawn rate isn't very good. So the likelihood of you getting a full stack of Chili Chugs isn't very good. And I would rather have a full stack of Bigs or a full stack of Chug Splash than 2 Chili Chugs, you know, like as my healing item. Maybe if I was carrying it for mobility, then I wouldn't mind. But yeah, Blizzard Bomb, we're going to put it D tier. I don't think it's very good. Floppers, I guess we'll put it like B or A. It's fine. This is the Ice Skate item. I'm going to put this at C. This is not what it looks like. It looks like a block of ice in game, but this was just something I found that represented it good. I don't have as high of an opinion on this as other people. A lot of people have kind of gassed it in combination with the katana, and they're like, you have so much mobility and you move so fast. And it does improve the katana, that's true. But do I want to dedicate 2 inventory items to that playstyle that I think is worse than just having Void Mask and Shockwaves? Like, if I'm going to carry 2 mobility items, it's Void Mask and Shockwaves. Pretty much the only time I would be using katana and Ice Feet is if I don't have access to the other items I have. And so for that reason, I don't think it's very good. Most of the people I see that hype it up and gas it, that's the point they make, is if you don't have other mobility items, it's good. And that's just like, you're already kind of explaining that you don't think it's very good, you know? It's fine, it's probably fun to use, but it's not something I prefer. And anytime I've encountered other people doing it, I've just had a very enjoyable time melting them with the Hollow Twister AR. And then the final thing is going to be the Fire Mask. I've never used this. It's annoying to play against, but I feel like I've rarely died to it. So I guess I'll put it B tier. This is the item that I have the least confidence ranking because I don't really use it and I don't play against it very often. It definitely feels like a cheese item. Like, I feel like I could lose to anybody using this if they have like decent timing or whatever, you know? But also, I don't think it's like the preferred way to win, and because of that, you don't see everybody in the lobby using it, you know? It's not like that OP. So I guess we'll just put it at B tier because I don't know how to rank this. But that is going to be my tier list for Chapter 6 Season 1. This is probably one of the harder seasons to make a tier list for. Like, I feel like all these S tiers were pretty obvious. That's why I got them out of the way early. But all the other guns, I feel like people's opinions on the shotguns vary. Some people really love this SMG. And yeah, and the sprites obviously get a lot of love. But let me know what you guys think of the tier list down in the comments below. Let me know what your favorite and least favorite items are. If you did enjoy this, give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.